So, Chef Tim, what are you making today?
Well, today our featured items are cabbage, both fresh and canned, and also lentils, canned and dried beans.
And why did we decide to do the lentils?
Well, because last week we made lentils and everybody just they loved them, so we figured that, and we also know they're going to give out lentils this day.
So when you're at your home and you're saying, what do I do with this? That's what this is for. So we hope you enjoy today.
Okay, well, the first one we're going to make are lentils, and lentils are a good source of protein. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to put oil in a pot. When you see the oil start to ripple, you know that it's getting hot enough to cook. If you start putting food into oil that's not hot, then it absorbs the oil and the flavor of your food is going to be very oily.
So question for the audience, since they're not here. What kind of oils can you use?
You can use vegetable oil, you can use canola oil, grapeseed oil, preferably something that doesn't have a lot of flavor. In Europe, they'll use olive oil for everything. I love olive oil, but it's going to give it a little extra flavor. Vegetable or grapeseed oil, even avocado oil, it doesn't have very much flavor. So we're going to give this just a second to start heating up.
Ooh, a sizzle.
Yeah, you can hear it sizzle. I'm going to put in some chunked onion. I like since lentils are really small, they don't have a lot of texture to them, so I like to chunk up my vegetables. Sometimes I'll say, dice them a 1/4 inch or whatever. Probably about a 1/2 inch is a good way to cut up your vegetables. So I'm putting in onion, celery, and carrots.
And what's that called?
That is called a mirepoix. That's a French fancy word.
And what do they say in Louisiana? The Holy Trinity?
The Holy Trinity,
right?
Yes, the Holy Trinity. And so these are flavor agents. These are aromatics. They call these aromatics also because they're going to bring out flavor. Onion makes everything taste good, at least savory foods. So they're cooking pretty well.
And they're giving away onion. They have a ton of onion today. So that is going to be awesome because onion is always good when you cook for flavoring.
So I'm going to let this cook. You just want to soften them a little bit to get the raw flavor out of them. And once I do that, now I'm going to add some chopped garlic. Now you can either use fresh garlic if you have garlic, or you can use the chopped garlic burned quickly. So
I don't want to be like the cooking show, but it does smell really good.
I know. And what Emerald used to say, boy, I wish I had flavor vision or smell-o-vision or something like that. So I'm getting these cooked. Onion and garlic, they burn quickly, so you got to turn it down just a little bit. Okay, they're looking pretty good. So I'm going to add either chicken broth or vegetable broth. If you use vegetable broth, then of course it's a vegetarian meal.
And you can also use the bouillon. I know you've seen these at the grocery store, but they are these little cubes that when I was little, I thought it was so exciting, so I decided to open and eat it, and it does not taste good like that. So,
no.
But
no, it
you
doesn't.
can put it, it has the instructions on the back, and so I know I'm a little silly, but I'm just telling you.
Just a little bit more, and as soon as I see the broth is really starting to boil and simmer on the outside, I'm going to add lentils.
And you use broth for a lot, right?
Yeah, broth is a great thing. There's no doubt about it. So I'll add the lentils. Now lentils are going to take about 20 minutes to soften. They don't take nearly as long as lima beans or red beans or black beans. So probably about 20 to 30 minutes. So you're going to check for tenderness, and you decide whether or not. Some people like them a little broth you can actually make lentil soup. In this case, we're going to just make lentils, which doesn't have quite as much liquid in it.
And you can make extra lentils, and then you can use them for all the recipes.
Yep.
And everybody has been asking for this recipe.
And
my gosh, they were like begging before, right after we got done. Hey, can I get that recipe?
Yeah.
I got to wait till the class.
And the point of these recipes, this is not supposed to be chefy. Just because I have a chef coat on doesn't mean that these are chefy. The point of these is to be creative with your canned and packaged foods. And there's a lot of ways you can do that. In this instance, I'm using salt, pepper, and some garlic and some thyme, but You know, if you have Italian seasoning, if you have Cajun seasoning, whatever seasoning you have in your cupboard, that's what you want to use.
And they also have, as you can see, we have our cabbage and our, so they have canned lentils of the bag.
Then you wouldn't cook them very long at all. You know, because they're already cooked. You just want to make sure you bring the flavor out from the vegetables. Tomatoes, you can use diced tomatoes in the can. You can chop up tomatoes. You know, really, I mean, whatever you'd like.
And they're really a good source of protein.
Yeah,
really
very good. Very good source of protein. So this is what you have here, and we have a bowl. Do we have a bowl that we can show them, the finished product?
Finished product.
And there they are. You can see that there's not a whole lot of liquid in there. Again, if you wanted to make it soup, you just add more broth. I mean, it's as simple as that. So there you have fresh cooked lentils.
Yay, we got a clap from the audience. And so we're on to our life point. So words of wisdom to make an extraordinary life. So your life point number 1 is have a go attitude. And someone that's in our class had a go attitude today. She came and wanted to be part of the class, and she decided to get out of her car and come and help. And so that's really what the whole point of it is. So it's Proverbs 3, 5, and 6. Trust in the Lord with all your heart and lean not on your own understanding, and in all ways submit to him, and he will make your path straight. And so during COVID, when everybody was in their house and Tim and I were, what are we going to do? Because we're just sitting around. We decided to start, what can we do to help people? And so when we started doing this, then people started calling us to ask. Attitude is go in there and help at the food bank and watch God. He'll turn your life around.
Yes, he will. Is cabbage and lentil soup. So again, we have 2 featured items. We have cabbage and we have lentils. So there's 4 different ways that we're going to be using either both of these products or each of these products.
And soup, which is, since it's blistery, wintry right now, I mean,
Oh yeah.
it's good that you have you can get some soup.
And you're going to find that there's very similar ingredients in at least 3 of these recipes. You know, one time our daughter asked me, "What's your favorite ingredient?" Now she knew that I cooked for so many years, and I said, "No, I don't have to think about that. You know, I mean, I've cooked for a lot of people in a lot of different circumstances." And so I said, "Well, give me some time." So the next day I said, "My favorite ingredient is onion," and she said, "No way." You know, she thought I was going to say something really fancy like truffles or just something fancy. And I said, "No, I thought about it. Onion is my favorite ingredient." And when I look back on all the different recipes that I've cooked over the years, onion is prominent. It really is. It's got a great flavor. And so anyway, she still doesn't accept that today, that onion is my favorite ingredient, but it really is. So I started
that if you don't have fresh onion, because some people don't, you could use onion powder or you can use any kind of seasoning. So all of this can be changed. We didn't want it to be like it has to be one way.
The point of it is, look and see what you have in your cupboard, look and see what you have in your refrigerator, and just, I always say the think out of the can is don't look at a can of corn just like a can of corn. There's plenty of things you can do. And again, one of the things we tell you, and Kim may have said this, that all of your vegetables or like canned
and you can add a little baking soda on there. That will take that canned flavor out.
Mm-hmm.
Believe me, I've done a lot of research on this because I want these recipes to be really, really good for y'all.
Okay, so I've added the onion. I added chopped carrots. Let them cook for just a couple of minutes. Same thing. I just want the onion to, they say till onion becomes translucent. Just, when you can see that it's starting to get soft, that's good enough. It's taking the raw flavor out of there. Next, I'm going to add chopped garlic again. And see, you can tell this is why onion is my favorite ingredient. It's in so many savory recipes. Every time I add an ingredient, I like to make sure that I mix it well. You can hear that nice sizzle. I drained the cabbage. It's got a lot of flavor. And again, if you have fresh cabbage, you can use fresh cabbage in this. But our intention here is that there is canned cabbage out there, and it's actually a good ingredient. It's got nice flavor.
And fresh cabbage, I mean, it lasts for a long time.
It sure
so
does.
You probably still have it from last.
And then we did just sauteed cabbage. Okay, so that's cooking really nicely. I'll go ahead and add, again, some chopped diced tomatoes. Every time you get an ingredient, mix it around. I'm going to add, once again, either chicken broth or vegetable broth. Now you can see that these are very similar ingredients, like I told you, but this being a soup, I added more broth. Finally, I'm going to add...
He's working really hard today. Got to make sure that he's
well,
set in for the game.
Thank you very much. I added some cut green beans. These ones are canned. You can have fresh, you can have frozen green beans. And again, whatever vegetable you have, if you have corn, if you have, whatever vegetable you have, you're making a soup out of this. The more veggies you have in there, then, the healthier it's going to be and the more flavorful. Finally, I'm going to add some seasoning. This is a combination of salt, pepper, garlic, and Italian seasoning. But here again, if you have basil, if you have, it doesn't matter. The point of it is, every time I cook at somebody's house or whatever, and they say, boy, that smells delicious, I always tell them, that's my cologne. And actually, after cooking all day, that's, the dogs and the cats love me. So the last thing I'm going to add, to wait as long, and to cook the lentils, if you want to just straight out cook lentils, you can either cook them in water, you just want to soften them, you can cook them in broth if you want, but you want to have the lentils to be cooked before you put them in.
What's the total time on the lentils? How long?
Lentils, again, they're not as thick or not as heavy as regular beans, so usually about 20 minutes. 20 to 25 minutes, and again, you taste them and see if they still have a little crunch, then cook them a little bit longer. It's always good to cover lentils or any beans when you're cooking them, because it takes all of the heat and the steam and it brings it right back in there. It doesn't lose any of the heat, so it's going to cook a little faster. Just make sure that you check and it's not too high so they don't burn.
Well, and make more so that as you make these recipes, you have the lentils already done.
So there is the soup, and I think Kim has one already in a bowl. It's hearty. I mean, I woke up today, it was 28 degrees, so, I didn't mind having a little bit of soup. And there you have it.
Do you soak the lentils like you soak pinto beans?
You don't have to. And actually on the packages, it'll say that you don't have to. The pinto beans, black beans and, lima beans and all those, they say to soak them because it'll get them started. But these don't take very long. And you don't want to overcook them because they get mushy really fast. So that's it, and that is lentil and cabbage and vegetable soup.
So we're on to life point number 2, be a coffee bean. Ephesians 3:20, now to him who was able to do immeasurably more than we can ask or imagine, according to his power that works within us. Change your thoughts, change your environment, and you'll change your circumstance. Carrot and coffee bean and put it in boiling water. When you put the egg in boiling water, what happens? The egg goes from soft to hard. And so sometimes we're in our environments and situations happen and that changes us hard. And then the carrot, it cowers, so it becomes soft. And when you put a coffee bean in, what happens? Or coffee, you put it in and the environment changes. You make the whole environment change. So we all want to be coffee beans. So that's the moral of the story.
So cabbage steak is the next one. And I didn't even know about cabbage steak until one day Kim said she saw it online. And I'm like, what the heck is cabbage steak? Well, it's a healthy alternative, something that's really hearty. It's so cabbage to about 1 inch, maybe even a little thicker depending, but 1 inch is really good.
And if you don't like cabbage, like it and you'll try it. Try it, you'll like it.
I'm going to put oil. Now in this one, if you want, olive oil is really good. I'm using regular oil, but I'm just saying olive oil will give it a little extra flavor. And I want to make sure that the whole top of the cabbage is evenly coated. I have a mix. This is simple. We don't want to have a whole lot of flavor in this because the cabbage itself, once you cook it, it really it takes on a flavor. I can't even describe it. But this is a mix of salt, pepper, and again, I just want to make sure it's evenly distributed.
And it's easy. This is a simple recipe.
Yeah.
Simple, simple. And if you wanted to add, in the cooking process, if you wanted to put some tomatoes or some onions on the pan,
Yeah, that's
underneath, that's what I've done before. I've put onions under the cabbage, so it's just a lot of delicious.
well, and it becomes a full meal. You know, we'll slice up onions and have like grape tomatoes or cherry tomatoes and cook them right there, and they get roasted with them. And this seems very, very simple. It is very simple. You can see all I did is season the top of it, olive oil, salt, pepper, and some type of garlic seasoning.
And the reveal? Should we have a drum roll here?
You know, and you know what I like? It's almost like cabbage chips because the outside it'll separate just a tiny bit, and then I eat those as little chips. But I mean, that is a really great, healthy, and hearty meal. And all you do is you cut it an inch. You put a little oil on there, season it, and put it in the oven. I like to cook it pretty high. I like to bake it at about 400 degrees, and it'll bake in like you know, probably 20-25 minutes, where it's tender, but it still has some chew to it.
You cover it?
No.
No?
No, you do it just like that. And then you'll check and see if it needs a little bit of extra oil. If it looks a tiny bit dry, then, you know, just put a little oil. You can also, if you have you know, some Pam or some, you know, pan spray or something like that. Again, be creative with what you have. And I can't even do anything more with this and tell you that it's a long recipe. Again, these are not meant to be chefy recipes. These are meant to be recipes that you can take a regular item, or as we say, you take ordinary ingredients to make extraordinary food. But I'll tell you something, this right here.
Next life point, and Chef Tim's going to say this one after I finish the life point. He's going to give you the words of wisdom that we've had. God will invade your ordinary and make it extraordinary. And so 1 Samuel 17:49 through 50, reaching into his bag, that famous one, he takes out a stone, and David slung it and hit the Philistine in the forehead. And the stone sunk in his forehead, and he fell down on his face. So David triumphed over the Philistine with a sling and a stone. So he didn't look at his past, he kept moving forward. And so tell them about our Thanksgiving tradition, since Thanksgiving's coming up.
This was very interesting. Kim used to say that she didn't particularly love Thanksgiving. So I said, okay, this is the first year we were together. And I said, I've got something special for you for Thanksgiving. Well, I bought her a dozen red roses on Monday, the Monday before Thanksgiving. And of course, we both enjoyed them in our house. And then Thursday, before we went to where we were going to go for Thanksgiving dinner, I cut all of the roses off. And I had nothing but stems. Well, I went out and I bought labels at Office Depot or whatever. And she said, what are we going to do? And I said, just don't worry about it. So I wrapped the stems in foil, went out. We went to a hotel that year. And people are looking at us. I asked, do you have a vase or a tall glass to the service? And they brought a glass. And that's the weirdest thing I ever saw. She said, what are we going to do with those? I said, we're going to label our thorns of the challenges that we had. And we learned from it. What did we appreciate? And so we're on 17 years now. It's a great way. It's just
it's very cathartic.
Yeah,
To get all that junk out, all those things that happened, just get it out of your system.
So it's very special. I can't wait for this year.
That you're frustrated about, it's no longer a problem in your life. So it's been beautiful.
Okay, well, last but not least, This is cabbage and lentil casserole. These little pans sometimes are a little challenging on this. So remember, wait for the pan to heat up a little bit. I'm going to start with a little bit of oil. And again, this one, it doesn't matter. If you have olive oil, fine. If, you know, canola, vegetable, it really doesn't matter. You just need something to get these vegetables started. Wait for a second for that to get hot. And remember, if your oil is not hot, then the oil and it's not hot enough, then it'll start to get mushy. So.
And remember, you have your lentils that were already prepared, so you can actually take those and use them for this recipe if you didn't want to, if you wanted it to go a little quicker for dinner.
So I'm going to start with onions. We got a new ingredient. We got green bell pepper. If you have red bell pepper, yellow bell pepper, it doesn't really matter. But this one has a new ingredient here. And here again, if you don't have green bell pepper, just be creative. Okay?
Or
It's just
grow it. That's what we've been doing. We've been taking the seeds and putting those in the ground. That's what we want you to do too.
we started to do our own gardening and canning and you know, it's just been
Drying.
Yeah, drying. It's really been a blessing.
We try to use everything, so we dry a lot of the vegetables.
So remember, what we want to do is we want to soften them a little bit. We don't want them to get real mushy. You always want to have that texture, you know, and that little bit of bite or that little bit of chew, you know, when you're making all these different ingredients, whether it's the soup, whether it's the lentils. I want to have, you know, the carrots and the onions just to have a little bit of bite. I don't want everything to be mushy. So I'm cooking or sauteing the onions and green bell peppers, cabbage, but once again, if you have fresh cabbage, it doesn't really matter. We just wanted to show you, a lot of people like, I didn't even know they made canned cabbage. So, you know, you'd be surprised at what's available. Cooked.
And that's the best part about all this. Canned goods, they're quick.
Yep.
You know, you can make dinner a lot faster.
So I'm adding seasoning, salt, pepper. You know, I use a lot of garlic in some form, whether it's chopped garlic or fresh garlic. I mean, between onion and garlic, that makes just about every savory item, you know, flavorful. And in this case, I'm putting in the seasoning right now because I want it to blend in with these vegetables before I put the other items in here. Mix it up real well. I'm going to add, now in this case, you do have to use cooked lentils because there's no broth that we're going to be putting in here that would soften or cook the dry lentils.
Those smell good
So
too.
did you like, you were suggesting earlier, like, if you had cooked lentils and had some left over?
Yeah,
Yes, okay.
yep.
And that already has onion.
Yes,
The ones we made have the onion and carrot, so you're adding more flavor.
right, okay.
And then you don't have to add your garlic in again, you know.
I added some diced tomato pan. You cook it on up, and then you put it in a, you know, some type of bakeable, you know, a bakeable casserole dish or something, and you put it in the oven. You know, that's the beauty of casseroles. And again, just, you know, I just want to make sure that everything is cooked enough. So it is. And
We're gonna do beans and rice next month. And so we have a sample of beans we're gonna hand out.
I'm carefully putting them into the casserole dish, the oven-proof casserole dish. And then I'll finish it with some cheese. I have a mix, it's a Mexican blend, but if you have cheddar cheese, again, what makes a really great casserole? Got to put some cheese on top of it. So this is what it looks like before going into the oven,
And this is what it looks like after.
and it does. So there you go. You have lentils, you have lentil and cabbage soup, cabbage steak, and a lentil and cabbage casserole.
And we have one more life point for you. Our scripture for today is Hebrews 11, 1 and 2. Faith is the belief. That is what great men and women of the Bible believed. I had to put 11, 2 in there because it's November 2nd. And I have to show you one more thing. If you have any type of vegetable that has something,
Any roots there?
roots, that's the word. So we have cabbage planted in in some dirt, and it will grow, and you'll have more onion, more cabbage. So that way, when the food bank doesn't give you that, then you can grow your own.
This is just the bottom of the green onion.
Yeah.
You know, and we've got about 4 or 5 of the bottoms of celery that are growing right now. We just planted.
Cabbage.
And, yeah, cabbages.
Last year we planted bok choy. Just decided, wanted to see what would happen. It's
Yeah.
literally this tall.
Yep, just cut off the bottom, stick it in the dirt, and make sure you give it a little bit of water and, you know, love, and there you go.
That container gardening?
What's-
Because it's winter time, or do you have it inside, outside?
No,
Yeah,
we have it outside right now, you know, and, you know, we choose, and then we look and see what, you know, what vegetables grow well in the winter. But, you know, you can grow those
We just plant
anytime.
anything. If anything that has that root on the bottom, after we cut it off, we save it and we plant that. Or I've just sprinkled seeds.
Yeah.
Like, what do
Yeah.
you want? Bell pepper? So I just sprinkle seeds to see, hey, will they grow? And it's amazing what grows. It is truly amazing.
So-
And we're using our food. We don't want to keep wasting.
Yeah.
Like, we're in hard times. We're all in hard times. So we don't want to keep wasting.
Be creative. If you have a different seasoning, you know, whatever seasonings you have in your cupboard, you have a few ingredients in your refrigerator, just be creative with the food that you're blessed with receiving. So thank you for taking the time.
Yes.
Thank you. I enjoyed that.
I'm going to go
Do you want to get the
Yeah.
the red beans?
Yeah. I'm going to go get the beans real quick.
The red beans?
Yeah. I'm going to go get the beans real quick.